G'day YouTube viewer, g'day bikers. A quick first impressions ride today on the Kawasaki KLX230S. Now I'm doing some other videos that go into far more detail soon in terms of specifications, suspension travel, ride height, handling, everything else. But I just wanted to get out on the bike a day after we picked it up and just get some first impression feels about the machine. And the very first thing that comes to mind that really grabbed my attention in riding it home from the dealership, I did a little detour on the way home just to test out the bike a little bit, is how light the clutch is and how light the gear change is. You almost do it and think, really, did I really change gear? Because there's barely a click or anything noticeable. I think it would have to be the lightest I've ever experienced on any motorbike. And when I stop and put it in neutral, I have to look down to see if the N is on, just to check that it actually did go in neutral, because I didn't actually feel anything. So in terms of a new rider, which this bike I bought for riding hood to learn how to ride dirt on, she's going to find it very good changing gears and using the clutch, and that's the main learning exercise she's on at the moment. She's only ever ridden scooters up until about a year ago. The second thing I notice is how light and flickable it is. This bike comes in at 132 kilos. I was also looking at the Honda CRF 300L, which has got a lot more horsepower, 26 compared to about 18 or 19. But has a higher seat height, but it is also nearly 8 kilos heavier. And also another thing I notice is how easy it is to, my thumb is pointing at it there, how easy it is to disengage the ABS on the rear wheel. Another thing I notice, I won't go over the railway line just today, we will go up that way another day. I've never been on this road before, but this thing just turns on a dime. I'll just give you a little look at it here. We'll try and make it single lane road, easily turning around without even putting the foot down, and it can actually do it better than that. I didn't quite steer it correctly enough. Just really easy. So riding hood's going to find it really easy to maneuver. The other thing I noticed, and I'm going to take a camera off and give you some views of riding along the road in a second. I'm going to find a fence post and put a little GoPro on there. The other thing I notice is the suspension is a lot firmer than I thought it would be. I know a lot of people call this a beginner level bike, but I've been riding over 50 years and I find it equally enjoyable as riding hood will. So it's not just a beginner bike, but it is very good for that purpose. Yeah, the other thing I notice is, the suspension is quite firm in comparison to, say, the CRF, for example. And I'd always heard the shocks are really good on this. Actually, I will go over that railway line just while I'm in a train of thought. The only reviews I'd seen on this bike were all 23 model years and earlier, and they talked about how they got the low seat height. I think those models were 835 millimeters by reducing the amount of travel on the shocks, so having suspension travel far less than on most dirt bikes. But this one, the 24 and 25 model, I think Kawasaki decided that was not quite enough. I see. I don't know where this goes. Is that private property? I'm not sure. We'll take a little run up there. Yeah, this one has an 845 millimeter seat height and further longer suspension travel. And so I think it would be harder to bottom out. Oh, here comes some dogs, I better be quick. Oh, we got the dogs after us. Oh, and they're still after us. I wasn't expecting that. The other thing I noticed about this bike, on the reviews I saw, this cable, the cabling up here, looked like it interfered with the view of the dash, the instrument cluster, but I can quite easily see over that from sitting on the bike. Probably the camera being lower, it probably will be in the way. But that's not really an issue. The dash doesn't show you your revs, but on a bike like this, you don't really need to know how many revs you're doing, because you can hear and feel it, and it tells you when it's ready to change gears. Like now, for example. Something I do want to show you too. I'll just pull up here to show you. We should be away from the dogs now. I didn't talk for a while because I started breathing heavy. Thought I was going to get bitten there for a minute. One thing I do notice with this bike, as you know if you've watched my channel regularly, I'm the owner of a DR650, and one of my main complaints with that bike is the side stand. It sits up so straight, it only takes a very gentle breeze or for you to brush past the bike and it can tip over really easily. This one, shorter side stand and a really good lean angle. Because it's going downhill slightly, it's leaning more than what it would normally, but I don't see any issues as far as that's concerned. It also has LED lighting, and they've redesigned the light on the front, which is different to a few years ago, and I think it looks quite smart from that point of view. The one thing I do notice though, looking here, is the mirrors. I'm only seeing about 50% of the road out of each one. They also are fairly close to me when I'm riding, but I think they've done that so if you do fall off this bike, they're in a bit and the handlebar will take the fall. I'm going to fit bark busters. When I do that, I might get some mirrors that stick out a little bit further, and just so I can see it a little bit more, but minor thing. Also, the exhaust sound is very, very quiet. That's something else I noticed first off. It felt very tight when I rode it out of the deal leather motor, and I guess that's fair enough. But I can tell already, I've done about 60 or 70 Ks, that it's all already beginning to loosen up. Alrighty, so what I'm going to do, actually, we'll give you a bit of a look at the bike from the side. Yeah, it's really so light, that gear changer. You just don't feel anything. So I physically have to look to make sure the ends come on, because I can't tell if it's gone in or not. It's just so soft. Maybe changing my mind slightly on that kickstand. It may be a little bit too far, because that's leaning quite away. Okay, just give you a quick look at the bike here from the side. I think got the sun the right way around. Sure, no traffic's coming. Okay, a quick look at the bike from the side there. 21-inch front, 18-inch rear. Love that the brake calipers are up above the swing arm. I might reduce the weight a little bit further, so it's only just over 130 kilos. I might take the passenger pegs off each side, because that'll reduce the weight a little bit further. So not only is it a bike for riding hood to learn on, I bought a vehicle at the same time as I bought this to transport bikes with. And the goal is to put the DR and this on the back and head somewhere where we can drive for a day, and Riding Hood and I can go adventure riding together in a remote location without having to ride hours to get there, and maybe stay in a motel overnight or something like that. So it just opens up all sorts of possibilities. Kawasaki green, well, it is a Kawasaki, I can live with that. Someone in the comments said, yeah, but it doesn't really fit with the Riding Hood name. And yes, I guess it would be better if it was red. But I enjoyed that comment, so thank you so much. Yeah, but it looks great and it feels great. Very, very easy to ride. Okay, just before I take off and give you a little ride past video, just show you what I look like on the bike. I'm 5'11", around 180 centimeters, and I can flat foot easily. 845 mil seat height. As you can see, I'm around 90 kilos. That's how much it sags. So I'm hoping that comes out on the video there for you. All right, I'll just go up and down and give you a little ride past video. And putting my weight up and down, it is soft, but it's not overly soft, not compared to some other bikes. It will bottom out if you jump it, but that's not the purpose of this vehicle. It has a nice low first gear, and that makes it good for going off the road into single lane, or what we would call in Australia doing some scrub bashing. Alright, and to switch off the ABS, you just press this in, and then hold it, and then once it lights up there, that means the ABS is off. Actually, let's turn the ABS back on before I go anywhere. So hold it in and go straight off, so you don't even have to hold it in to switch it off. Okay, good to know. The headlight brightness seems good. Haven't tested it at night yet. I'll do that and report back to you in a future video. As I said, I've got a number of videos coming up on this bike who will let you know all the detail, the precise suspension travel, precise torque and horsepower figures. But I can tell that it just loves to be in dirt. On a highway, you could do 60 to 70 miles an hour, 100 to 120 kilometers per hour, but it's not going to hold very well in headwinds and on any significant incline. The engine is loosening up, I can tell, and looks like it's a little bit better than what I thought it was going to be when I first hopped on the bike. So you can certainly ride between trails okay. A lot of people also comment about how hard the seat is on this that I've seen in reviews. To me, it's no more uncomfortable than any other dirt bike I've ever ridden. Seats on most bikes now were like motocross seats were, I guess, in the 70s when I was riding in my early years. And they're made for you to slide around on, move positions on, stand up and sit down. And I think they're built for purpose. You don't want too soft a seat, particularly on a dirt bike. You want to be able to move around, and you don't want to be sitting down all the time. Mind you, I don't stand up as much as a lot of people do. I stand up when there's a reason for it, but not just for the sake of standing up. Red Cedar Lane, I'll go up there one day. See if we can find some more dogs up here. I haven't got my dirt riding boots on, so I haven't got as much leg protection as I would normally, because it's just a very gentle ride. I've just got my road boots on. Haven't got my adventure helmet on, or my peaked helmet. It's not set up for videoing, not yet anyway. That will change soon now that we have this bike, and now that Riding Hood and I will be out doing joint dirt adventures. I think I'm in about third or fourth gear. It's pulling quite okay up this hill. So all in all, I'm very happy with this choice. First impressions are very good. Feels a little higher in the seat and the suspension, along with its firmness, than I thought it was going to be. And that's probably a pleasant surprise because it means it's not going to bottom out as easily. And it is going to be a little bit more capable than I thought it might be. So if anything, it is better than I expected. And that's a pretty good thing. If I was buying just for me, I would have bought the KLX230, which now is available in Australia, and there was one at the dealership in the showroom when I first went there to look at this a couple of weeks ago. So you can get that KLX230 now in Australia. It's liquid cooled, this is air cooled, but I particularly wanted an air cooled motor if I could get one, because there won't be much possibility in the future of doing that. But certainly it's got about 26 horsepower compared to this is around 18, I think. I'll do the exact details when I can. And of course it's got longer suspension, more travel, and higher ground clearance, the 300. So if it was just for me, I would have gone that bike, but because Riding Hood is going to learn to ride dirt on this, just the lower seat height and lightness, lower weight, is going to be better. Although having said that, I think this is 132 kilograms and the KLX230 is only 137 or something like that. So if you're in the market for a CRF 300L or 300 Rally, a bike to look at in consideration along with those, of course, would be the KLX230. Very similar power, very similar specifications in terms of suspension and ground clearance, but all reports are, from what I've heard, that the suspension is better on the Kawasaki's. But you can also always spec up those Hondas. This year's model, they've improved it. But what I hear, the Kawasaki is still slightly better. Of course, it's not race spec suspension or anything like that, not enduro quality, but for the sort of riding that we do on trails and things like that, this is going to be fine. And that certainly, the KLX230 is even more capable, so it would definitely be not a problem. Anyway, thanks for watching my video again. If you thought this is okay, please give it a thumbs up. I will be doing a lot more videos on this bike in the next week or two. Some things I want to explain about why I chose it, some other reasons. And I want to give you a complete review once I've ridden it for a few hundred kilometers, just so I can be more thorough and more precise and more accurate. But first impressions are certainly good. If you haven't done so already and would like to be alerted to those videos and others, please consider subscribing to the channel. I'd love to have you on board for future videos I post. And of course, until next time, happy motorcycling. Actually, just before I wrap this video up, let's have a little run out on the highway, get it up to 100 Ks and just see how it looks, what it feels like sitting there. They say you should run it in all gears, all speeds, without revving too high in running in a bike. So here's the top gear, speed limit, 100 kilometer run. It is a 6-speed gearbox, this, so I'm interested to see how the top gear feels. Can't really tell what gear I'm in at the moment. I'm assuming about 4th. I don't want to rev it too high for too long, so we'll give it a quick run up to 100 and then I'll bring it back down to about 90. There we go, 100. Actually, it's sitting quite well on that. More stable. It's a slight breeze going, but more stable than I thought. Being so light, I thought it would want to jump around a little bit, but it's sitting very true. You can tell it's a light bike, but it's sitting really comfortably at that speed. No, a lot better than I thought. So it keeps surprising me, this bike. 233 cc's, and it's passing every test I throw at it, given my expectation of the vehicle. I'll just ease back a little bit. I don't want to make the motor rev too much at this stage, where we're only about 80 k's into its life. It's good that it got up to 100 though, and then ease it back. It's good that it's getting run, stretching its legs out in top gear. Okay, we'll bring it back up to 100 again, just before I hop onto the overpass and start heading back. 95, 96. There we go, 100 again. Yeah, once it's run in, I won't have any hesitation of getting up to 110, 120 on it. But its sweet spot for in top gear seems to be about 80, 85 kilometers an hour, around 50 miles an hour. You can do the highest speeds, but I wouldn't want to do that all day on this bike. It's a bike you do need to change the gears a lot on. It needs that to ride it properly, but that's good. It makes it more engaging. I like that. Some of my bigger bikes, you tend to put them in one gear and leave it there a lot more. But not this. You're up and down the gearbox all the time. And I love being engaged on a ride. I love not thinking about anything else but what I'm doing. It's definitely dog day today. Another one up ahead. I think I'll go past him quickly in case. This is when a gear shift indicator would be useful, just so you know when you're getting up near top gear. But for just general riding, no, it's not necessary. It's great that it has a fuel gauge though.